All right. So Golf Clash has a new tournament announced, the East Coast Tournament. And they were using Southern Pines and City Park holes. So let's go check them out. Hey, we got great news this week, though. Golf Clash Notebook has, they're fully updated. So all of the tournaments they stopped during the Coastal Classic, and they've updated it all, so it's now all up to date. So hopefully everything went okay with everybody involved, and but it's good news for the community that the Golf Clash Notebook is still back up, or is still up. All right, let's go to. So here's what we'll do. Take your pen and paper here, because Southern Pines par 4, hole 1, Southern Pines par 4. They don't tell you what hole it is. So here I'm going to tell you what the hole numbers are. So hole number 1 is Southern Pines hole number 3. Hole number 2 is Southern Pines hole number 6. Hole number 3 is City Park hole number 3. Hole number 4 is City Park hole number 5. Hole number 5 is City Park hole number 1. Hole number 6 is Southern Pines hole number 5. Hole number 7 is Southern Pines hole number 2. Number 8 is City Park hole number 2. And number 9 is City Park hole number 9. So if you're looking for holes, that's what they are. So what I'll do here is we will go to Golf Clash Notebook, and let's check out hole number 1, which is going to be Southern Pines. Now here's what I did before we get started. I went into YouTube, and if you check my playlists by recently added, there's one on here called Golf Clash East Coast Tournament Rookie. And so there'll be 9 holes in here. Don't worry about the names. These are from past tournaments, and just demoing shots from past tournaments so that you can see what it looks like out in the field. Now, some of these I may have changed, like how the shot was, or I came into the week and I was using one club. I think on hole number 9 down here, I came into the beginning of that week and I was demoing extra mile, and I just got used to the shot. But on hole number 9, I would definitely bring a different club. So, but watch all these. I put on some pretty good shots on here so you can see what the holes look like. All right, hole number 1, Southern Pines. Southern Pines, hole number 3. It's big old par 4, and I like this par 4. So okay, the black and the blue line. Let's talk about the white line first. So if you're hitting from over into this area, it will carry a little bit down into this pocket. So you can help yourself out here. This is definitely a big club. You want to try and do this so you don't have to have any overpower on it. So you're in the pocket down here. You're trying to come out your ball guide. You look at the way that they're showing the curl on there, and that's exactly, you need to put some kind of movement on it, because with ball guide to the green, your ball guide's going to be going right through the sand. So instead of hitting out here and bringing it this way, you can pinch up against and try and hit it straighter to get it to go forward. It's a tricky shot, and it's a great way to end up there. And here's the benefit of ending up there. If you end up in this area, and obviously the farther up you go, you can get, you could possibly, if you could hit it at the right angle and get forward movement and get up here, you can probably get into somewhere up in here your short iron range. And you've got a straight in shot. So you've got all of this fairway in front of the green, and you can bring it up because everything around the green, I mean, look at the shadow back here. This is super steep. I mean, here's the green up here, and I mean, it is steep. This is steep. And you'll see people do rough bumps off of this face right here. I don't want anything to do with that, because this face right here goes like this and then comes up to the green. I don't want anything to do with something that steep. You hit it right, everything goes good. You hit it even a little bit wrong, and you're in the sand. And this sand is so steep in the sand that you may not be able to get it out of the sand. So I don't want anything to do with that. So this one right here, if you're a one-on-one play, the white line is all wind dependent. So if you have the wind that you can take the shot so that the wind's going with you in this direction, and you can take it with a lower power ball, it's not bad. But if you get caught up in the sand out here, you may not be able to get on. If you're out in this area right here, what I want to do is I want to end up somewhere along this line. Now, what I'm going to be striving for this week is, if you're past this shadow and you're out here in the clear in the fairway, you do have a short iron shot. You're right on that red line with a 3-power ball. You're right on the red line between short iron and long iron, and I'm bringing a Saturn. I want backspin Saturn, and I'm probably going to bring a claw. just because it's more accurate than a thorn. And I've got a maxed out claw, and it's not, even though it has a little less ball guide, it's not going to matter when you're doing that much backspin. So these are going to be the two clubs I'm going to bring if I'm in this area. But I'm going to work on this week trying to get it more out into this area, because it's just about everything you can do out here. Sometimes you can actually overhit it down into this area, and you're trying to get to right there, and you may end up in the rough. So this is a great hole to bring a Houdini and a machete. Now, if you end up in the sand over here, I would rather have, I'd rather have a Spitfire just because of distance, just because I know I can get up there. So I may not bring the Houdini, but I would definitely think about bringing a machete, because you get caught up here, you want a backspin club. But I'm going to work on from the tee box this week is seeing, normally I'm like along the shadow, but I want to see if I can cut this corner and get out here in the clear where I have a little more run at it if I can get up into this area. Now, I probably could if I brought a 3, if I'm bringing a 4 power ball or a bigger ball, but then it comes to where your bounce is at compared to this sand. So even though I've played this hole a ton of times and I really like this par 4, you have a really good shot at eagle here if you bring the right stuff. And so my typical MO is extra mile, kingmaker, try and get along this line, Saturn, thorn, claw, and backspin it into the hole. But this week, at the beginning of the week, I'm gonna explore what it'll take to get further out here to see if I can bring a hornet instead of a thorn, because I think I have a better shot with the hornet than I do with the thorn if I can run it in. This is a great hole if you have an apocalypse, because you do have, where I'm typically ending up with an extra mile is more towards, if you take this as a halfway between here and here, I'm ending up in this quarter. And that's it's making it a little teeny bit closer to the hole, so I'm eking more into that short iron range. But if this is with an extra mile is about as far as you can pull it around, but with an apocalypse, you may be able to pull it around over here, and on the arc to the hole, you could be out here and be at the same distance here, but you've got a little more of the fairway so that you can run it up with a hornet. So I'm going to explore, I'm going to see if I can get out into this side and get out here into the mouth of this fairway a little bit, coming up to the green, so that I can run it up. Because if you're coming at it from this angle over here, excuse me, sorry about that. If you're coming at it from this angle, you're going to have backspin clubs. If you end up out in this area and you don't have backspin clubs, you'll see a lot of people and try and engage this hill face and try and bounce it up there. More power to you, but I'm not ever going to demo any way, shape, or form that shot. Because what I'll do if I was pinched like that is I would come over here and I would ride my ball guide along this line until I was finally in the clear, and I'd set my ball guide up and I would put maximum side spin and maximum curl and try and just bring it up to the hole. Abandon any shot at eagle. Just get it up here so I can get my birdie and move on to the next hole. But it's definitely right club for the hole is what will make this hole a lot easier. But this is definitely an eagleable hole. So if we write these scores down, this is a 1 hole with a possibility at 2. So we got 1. All right. Hole number 2 of the East Coast tournament is going to be Southern Pines, hole number 6. Let's go to Southern Pines, hole number 6. All right, Southern Pines, hole number 6. There's a bunch of different ways to play this hole. Bunches. I come at it with a Guardian and a Katana. But I'm going to I've played this hole for I don't know how many times, and I played it with a big dog, a sniper. I played it with every wood that you have in the bag up through the scales, because this is a hole that you ran into relatively early when the game first came out. I think it was level Tour 6. So I played this hole a ton of times. But I just but for a long time I just played it with my Guardian, and I get way up into this front spot. I'm scrolling here. I get where I'm just a couple rings off in this pocket, and I have maximum backspin, maximum right hand side spin, and I put curl on it, and I'm trying to bring it to the hole. And this is, in my opinion, a very low percentage hole-in-one hole. But it's one of those types of holes that eats people's lunch. They get caught up along this edge right here, or they overshoot it and end up out here, or there's a flat spot up here at the top. And so you can hook this around and it'll roll back down to the hole. But if you get too far up there, down on this side, there's a flat spot and it'll feed you off. and it's a kind of a difficult area to be in up there, or you can end up bleeding off and ending up here. So this hole can eat your lunch. I would say this is probably the spot that people fail the most. And let me show you a picture that I'll demonstrate. This is actually from hole number 9, but I'll show it here, and I may even show it again. So this is a shot where I'm a couple rings off of this surface over here. Let's see if I can get, I can't get both my pen and my recorder up at the same time. Hold on. There's more than one way to skin a cat. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm 2 rings off of this surface, and I'm setting this shot up. And a lot of times you'll see me set a shot up when I know I'm going to put some curl on it. And instead of being like normally, I always set up 2 rings off. But when I'm adding curl, I'll move it, even though I'm trying to get the ball to go to the right, I move it further to the left. And the reason I'm moving it further to the left is this second bounce right here. So this second bounce right here, I'm looking at the distance that that bounce is on the arc from that rough. So you have a very small little bit of distance here. And if you put on too much curl, you're going to clip this rough because it's come in at the angle, and curl's not represented in your ball guide. So you're out going like this, and then all of a sudden you put that curl on there, and now you're coming in this direction and you clip the rough. So you have a very small window. So when you're looking at curl, so to give myself more room there so that I can apply the curl and the curl can become effective, because I really want the ball, if you look at the angles here, if I was in this spot, like if I came out from where I'm at right here, I'm going to bleed off like this. And if I come out on the arc and I'm in this area right here, I'm still going in this area. What I really want it to do is to come out in here, but if you draw the arc out here, I'm clipping the rough. So in order to make it so that I can achieve this angle, I will move the ball to the left and put myself 3 rings out. And then instead of this bounce being here, this bounce is over here so that I can apply the curl on this arc right here and it'll roll right out. Okay, so see how that worked? I'm here. I can go, here's where this ball is going to end up. Here's where it would be where it clipped the rough. So if I move this out 1, I'm actually going to get, when the ball comes in, instead of coming in at this angle right here, it's going to come in at this angle, and I'm going to be able to achieve a better result by moving it further to the left, even though I'm trying to get the ball to go to the right. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go to, and this is a prime example of where that happens. People will pinch themselves up. They'll pinch themselves up so they're only like 1 ring, just like their yellow ring, or yellow bullseye, or they'll only be like 1.5 rings off. And then they'll put a bunch of curl on it, and it'll end up clipping either right here, or when it comes around, it'll clip up here in the front. And so if you want to put a lot of curl on a shot like this, you got to move that ball more rings to the left to give yourself room here, so that when you put that more curl on it, you gave it this room to be able to become effective. I tend to not want to mess around on these par 3s. If you watch my videos on a regular basis, you know exactly what's coming. So I want to be close. I want to eliminate all this stuff. I want to hit up onto the green, and with side spin and curl, I'm never gonna take the risk of hitting this because I was in front of it. And so I'm going to just go at the hole. It's a low percentage hole, and you can get really close. But my Guardian has been upgraded, and I've been playing with the level 6, level 7, and now I've got it maxed out, and the stats are different. So I don't know how it's going to be different on this hole, because it has a little bit more power, and so now I'm going to be in a little different part of the club. So I'm going to have to adjust this shot just for this. So I'm just going to start the week off with the Guardian and just keep working it as the week goes on. All right, that was hole number 2. Hole number 3 of the East Coast tournament is City Park, hole number 3. So let's go to City Park. City Park, hole number 3. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is a dangerous hole. Right on that one. It was a 1. Okay. A couple different ways that you can come at this. The traditional way to come at this is to lay up out here. And as long as you're in front of this light pole, you're in pretty good shape. If you're hitting it short, bringing a bigger club like a big dog, it's going to be a wood shot. And where you're going to be at is if you're in this area, you're going to be coming over, hitting on this side of this, and then trying to bring it into this area. There will be a tendency to want to, because of the way the ball guide's going, there may be a tendency to try and get more distance by coming over here. But this is on a hillside, so this little mound right here, here's the mound, and then it falls off. And it's steeper on this side and pretty steep back here in the back, and then it kind of shallows out in the front. But it falls off really big. So the terrain right here where you hit, you're actually hitting on a hill face that's going down. So your ball guide's wanting to go off to the right. So in order to, even though your ball guide should be going straight, it's going off to the right because it's engaging that hill face. So you'll have to put curl on it to bring it back up. So if you want to try and eke out more distance, you can try and come down here, but you're taking a blind curl shot. If you start off back in here and you bring a club that's got good topspin so that you can bridge the gap over the top of it. So this is not a guardian hole. This is a, depending on how far back you've been hitting, it's a big dog or a sniper hole or a viper. But something that's got some topspin so that you can bridge this gap when you're trying to roll up. Now, the farther you can get, at some point from the pin coming back here, at some point here, you are in short iron range, and at some point you are in long iron range. And I'm not sure exactly where that point is, but to get to your short iron range, you do have to dig up into here. And it's dangerous because, you know, as you come into this mouth, you are literally at the very end of the run. So whatever trajectory you had, if it was off, it's off. And there ain't no way of fixing it. Now, obviously, if you end up in the rough or you end up in the sand down here, you can make it on. But if you're really trying to give yourself that shot, you know, you want to get up in there. But I'm usually not too greedy. If I can get somewhere up into this mouth area up in here, I've got a pretty decent shot. It's a very tough hole to get an Albion, but it's tough. Okay, so traditionally it takes 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots just to get on. So this 3rd shot, you're going for eagle, right? On and 3. Yeah, you're going for eagle on the 3rd shot. So if you want to have any shot at either Albie or increasing the odds that you're going to get an eagle, you can bring a Power 5 ball. And you can try and do a max overpower shot where you're trying to end up over here. And where do you want to end up over here? Who cares? If you are on the green, woo! High five. You made it to the fairway. And it's possible to do it with a Power 5 ball. You can blast yourself over. You're going to want to dig down in here as deep as you can. The goal is you can see how the fairway is going. So this is the narrowest spot. And so you want your trajectory from wherever your bounce is out here. You want your trajectory in your ball guide. This is the area you're going. You're trying to hit in that narrow spot. I found myself many times with the Power 5 where I was out here or I was out here. And if I would have been more on trajectory on that line, I had a whole bunch of spots where I would have been in the fairway and I just missed it to the outside. But you can get over there. With a Power 3 ball, you're going to end up in the rough. And here's the cool thing is if you're taking this shot right here and you go, man, that shot is really killing me. You can power it out here. Try it one time when we're practicing. Power it out here into the very middle of this as hard as you can possibly hit it. The first time you get any kind of tailwind. And with a Power 3 ball. And from here, with a rough iron, you can do your bounce over here, and you're going to end up out in this area. And you have pretty easy on, but it's still, you know, this is your eagle shot. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots to get on. There was your eagle shot. So this is not very many people are going to get. This is a tough hole. And this is definitely a birdie hole, but if you want to try and get an eagle on this, Power 5 ball, try and get out of here. And then you have a shot. You have an Albie shot, and I would bring a big dog. You're going to need a big dog or a Cataclysm so that you can get up into this area to try and get it up on. And where do you want to get on? You won't have a really good look at it. I mean, you're going to have a look at it, but the whole goal here is that if you make it over to here, the whole goal is to get that eagle, because it's just going to be a lot of people just aren't going to get it. Now, you can do a max overpower hook shot here, and there's one thing that's not represented in this picture. And I'm not sure. We'll have to look to see what they, because they'll change these holes. But there's a couple additional trees. There's this tree that's here, and then there's another tree that's out here. But there's some trees that they added, and you can do with a 3 power ball. And you can work this number 2 with a 4 power ball, and and with 5. There's a spot out here that you can do a max overpower hook, but you take the risk of clipping this tree. And that tree was not there originally when they did this hole, and then people were doing max overpower hooks, and then all of a sudden a tree started up out there, and they never, like during one of the tournaments on that particular tournament, there was a tree and they never took it out. So there is a tree out here that you can clip if you're in the wrong spot. Where I would start, if you want to do the max overpower hook shot on here and try it out, is take with a 3 power ball and an extra mile. Take your white line when the ball's fully extended. I think it was at rest. And I put my white line right up against this transition right here. From the deep rough to the second cut of rough. I put my white line right on that transition. I took the wind out, and you'll end up landing somewhere in this area right here. Now, this is a reverse hook. It's maximum right hand curl, maximum top spin, and maximum left hand side spin. So what I want to have happen is that I'm curling the ball to this point. And so the ball is going in this direction. But the second that it hits, it has all of the side spin that hits it, and it tries to straighten it out. And I have made it out into this area a bunch of times, and I've only made it over and actually been on the fairway maybe once or twice doing that shot. It's still a shot that I would work on to see if I could get that angle. And maybe I don't put. I mean, you gotta those max overpower shots. Maybe you don't put all the curl on. I don't know. But it may be possible with a 3 power ball. In a worst case scenario, you end up out here in the rough, and if you got a Nirvana, you can get up and get on and get your birdie and move on. And at least you gave yourself a shot. So if you don't have any power 5 balls, you can try it with a max overpower hook and try that. But if you have 5 power balls, it's possible. It's still hard, but it's possible to get over here, and you could actually go to get on into and get an eagle. And this is a super hard hole to eagle. All right. So on this hole, it's a 1 hole with a possibility of getting +1. So on hole number 4, we're on City Park, hole 5. City Park, hole 5. All right, this is another great hole right here. So me personally, if I bring a QB, that means I'm setting a shot up. And if I set a shot up, I want the best. I want a ball that's got side spin for sure whenever you use a QB. So this is either going to be a Katana or a Kingmaker. And when you get out here into the spot that you're looking at, you're coming in at short iron. And in short iron, I want to be as deep into my short iron as possible. So I'm going to bring a Kingmaker so that I can get as deep into my short iron as possible. Most people who come to this hole, let's draw some lines here. See this, the backside of this green? Draw that line across the fairway here. Okay, so if you're on this side of the line and you're out here, when you come into the green, you've got this little teeny bit of distance here from where your first bounce is on the green and you're at the hole. So the farther you get out on this line right here, on the outside of the line, the farther out you get, the steeper this angle is and the less green you have to do your shot. So if you're on this side of the line on a consistent basis and you like it out here, bring a thorn or a claw. Bring a club that has a lot of backspin, because when you get on the green, here's the rough. The farther out there you get, the more, in order to get on line with the green, you're getting closer and closer up here, so you need backspin. And so I don't want to engage. This is a great hole to get an eagle. I don't want to engage that with backspin. I want to be on this line right here, and I want to be on this side of the line, and I want to be somewhere up in this area right there. Okay? I mean, even anywhere, like you could draw this right here, and anywhere in this block is a great spot because you have a full run up to the hole. I mean, you can start back here with your first bounce and you can run it up to the hole. You can get close to the hole and put a little backspin. You have tons of options. So I want to be down in this area right here every single time. So I don't want to bleed out into this, and I don't want to be over here and being in a different part or being long iron. I want to be right here in short iron range every single time. So QB, Kingmaker. I'm going to bring a Hornet. And I have found, I went back and watched a bunch of different videos for holes that I played this in. And what the deal is with the Kingmaker, and it might be almost almost a rethought, and with a katana. So my red line is like right here, and my minimum is like right here, and my mid is like right here, and I'm just a little forward of my minimum once I put the stuff on, or middle. So I'm kind of in between mid, maximum, and mid. If I brought a katana, it would pull this red line back, and I may be actually closer towards max. So I use the max number. But what I found is on this hole, my normal numbers are 1.1, 1.9, 2.2. That since I'm in between these two, I normally hit 1.5, but I've been hitting 1.3, and it seems like it's been working a little better, 1.3 per ring from if I get into this area. Now, if I end up going a little longer, if I end up a little bit out here, I'm going to have to check on it to see where I'm at, because I may be closer to max, or I may be right on mid, and so I'll have to check that number. But if I end up in my target area, I'm going to hit 1.3 per ring. And I don't think I've ever made any wind adjustments here. We'll play this out as the week goes on and see how it's working, because a lot of times this is all dependent on the wind. So, I mean, if the wind's blowing one way or if the wind's blowing another way, you know, like how we're going to set the shot up or how it affects the shot. We may have came here last time and we were like, hey, we always add 20%. And then we come to the hole again and you add that 20% and it doesn't work. It doesn't work because the wind is blowing in a different direction. And now that 20% it's not reacting the same way. But this is definitely a hole that we can get an eagle on. And it would really be nice to get one at least once around on this hole. I mean, it is a very makeable shot. If you set it up right and you hit perfect, you have a serious shot of getting on. All right, hole number 5 of, let's go back in there. Hole number 5 of the East Coast Tournament is a par 3, and it is on City Park, hole number 1. All right, here's one of the things I love about par 3s. Pick a club in your bag, and pick a ball, and pick a spot, and go, today we're going to hit nothing but shots from right here, where we wedge up our blue ring or we wedge up our white rings in here, and we get into this little area right here, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get the ball to come to the hole from that spot. Or no, there's a little hollow right here, and I like to put it where I've got my white ring off or my blue ring off and my white, and you can hit this. Pick a spot. Like, no, I like this spot or whatever. I'm going to hit it. There's 2 different ways that I like to come at this hole. Way number 1 is there's a ridge right here. There's kind of a trough that runs down. And this area right here is somewhat flat leading up this hill. And then it rolls down on the other side. So there's another little ridge right in this area. And so what I want to do is I want to engage like right in here where it's at that transition where it's almost flat, and I want to do a full backspin shot and go right at it. That's one way that I've played this hole quite a few times in the past. The other way is that I come down this trough a little bit and see the dark cut, light cut, dark cut, light cut, dark cut. On this dark cut right here, there's a light cut right after it, and at the top of that right cut, I want my ball guide to end right there, and I'm using maximum backspin and whatever's left and left-hand side spin, and hitting it right to that spot, and where it hits, then it's just rolling straight down to the hill, or straight down the hill to it. It doesn't. It's a little bit different. I'll do them both when we, and I don't know which way I did in the video that's in the playlist. I think I went right straight at it from the backside. But there's a ton of different ways that you can do, and just pick the club that you really want to come to this hole with, and go, no, I want to play from way down here, and I want to run it up because I feel like I got whatever. Just pick a spot and work that spot to death all week. All right, that was hole number 5. Hole number 6 is at Southern Pines. This is hole number 6 of the East Coast Tournament at Southern Pines, hole number 5. Let's see, I can't remember any of these holes. Okay, this is, I actually will be honest, I've only played this hole, how many tournaments has this been in? Okay, this is a false thing. The U.S. Championships, this hole was in there, but it was totally reconfigured. And if you watch the video, I put that video on there because I was actually thought it was the other hole. We were demoing for it. We were getting ready for a tournament. And that hole had been in play since the game came out. And when we landed on the field, this was the hole that we found. They completely redesigned the hole. And so while this hole was in the U.S. Championships, it wasn't this hole. I think this hole didn't come out until the spring major. I think the spring major was the first time that it ever, this new configuration. So I actually haven't played this hole a lot. Now I've tried it several different ways. You can hit it out here, and the farther the better. And if you're hitting it out here, I can tell you right now, you can bring a sniper, but I would bring a big dog because of the way that this is curved. So with a sniper, you're going to have to bring it back quite a ways in order to get to the red line where you can engage the fairway. And with the topspin and stuff that it has on it, it's a difficult. You can get up close, but it's a pretty hard shot. Obviously, the farther you can get in, the better, the easier you're going to make it. But if you're down in this area down here, this is definitely big dog. And my personal thing is if I need a big dog in my bag, that means I need distance. Otherwise, why would I have brought the big dog when I have a guardian that gives me backspin and a sniper that gives me ball guide? So what was the purpose of bringing a big dog if it wasn't because that club gave me the distance I needed? So why would I not bring a Titan or a Kingmaker or something, but at least a Titan? Why wouldn't I bring a 3-power ball? Because I got the biggest wood with the worst ball guide. And now you're going to bring out a Quasar. Why didn't you just bring your sniper or your other one and just lay up here? That way you had a better shot and then you could go at it. So if you're going to bring a big dog, bring a big ball. I would. Why would? That's the whole deal. The very first time, and in the video, the very first time I ever came to this hole, I was just like checking it out to see the deal. And I came out into this area and I actually screwed the shot completely up because I was trying so many different things that I was rushed for time. I should have put on max curl. Great hole for an apocalypse. And if you've got a 3-power ball, you can do a max overpower shot out here and you're trying to curl it to bring it back out of the fairway. Now here's the problem. Okay, drawing lines. Here's the tee, and there's the trees. So if you hit it out here in the rough and you're out in this area, you're clear of the trees and you have a straight in shot on it. So you have a pretty decent shot. You actually have a look. And so the first time I came out here, I actually hit out into this area with an extra mile, and I was able to engage my Nirvana, and I was actually able to get on into it and I got an eagle. First time I've ever been here. So the second time I came here, I thought, hey, no big deal. I'll just hit it out into this area, and if I'm short, I can get on with my Nirvana. And I ended up right there, and you can't get on from there. And so if you're going to hit it out in the rough, you want to be way out in the rough. But if you're coming at it with more curl, then that means, let's do the lines here. If you're coming at it with, I don't know if I can get far enough away to see the whole hole. If you're coming out like this and you're trying to bring it out into this area, so you're more on the pad here, you can see where we're engaging. Like, look at the shadows right here. I'll zoom it in. You can see where we're engaging. You're coming somewhere into the fairway right here. And this point of the fairway is about the only spot that you have a shot of the green. If you're anywhere on the inside of that, if you're here, you're actually behind the trees now. And now you got to curl it to get it around. So if you're shooting that shot and you go, wow, I can get out there, you may find that you did all that effort. So we'll have to practice this during the week to see how much forward movement we can get. And the video shot there, I talked about it using a big topper, but you may be able to come out here with a big topper and a 4-power ball and get more forward movement so that when you get to the other side, you give yourself a better look at the green by getting in front of those trees. But this was definitely a shot that I'm going to be working on during the week. You can lay up on here, but it is a big dog to get on. It's a big club. I have tried, in the few times that I played this hole, I have tried a couple of max overpower hook shots to see if I could bring it in one of these areas. But the way that the trees are set up is they're very strategic, and I haven't been able to do it. But there is one shot that I haven't taken yet, is trying to do a max overpower hook shot where I'm engaging it here, coming out into here, trying to get the ball to land here and to come out so that I feed off into this green over here because I have no trees. And if you can feed off into this green, you might have a pretty decent shot coming in. So at the beginning of the week when we get this hole, I'm definitely going to practice this max overpower hook shot and see if it's possible. You'll typically know within a shot or two. As soon as you can catch one of the ones that actually engages the fairway out here, you'll be able to get a read from it and see like whether or not you could actually get it over into this area or not. It may take 1 or 2 times before I can get it in a really good spot. So it's like, that'll either work or it won't work. But I'm gonna try that shot at the beginning of the week and see it. So if you want, that's a great shot to try out. All right, that was City Park, or excuse me, Southern Pines, hole 5. That was hole number 6 of the East Coast tournament. Hole number 7 is Southern Pines, hole number 2. All right, this hole's been out since the game came out, and I'll tell you, when this hole was in Tour 6, when you first got to Tour 6, this is a challenging hole. And I've played it with the black line when I was very low level. This was a hammerhead shot. You could come out here and you could use curl and bring it around. The ball guides got you going like this, and so you're doing this curl, and it's a blind shot. Trying to almost 2 more holes. So the white shot in one-on-one play is pretty much the way that I go at it in one-on-one play, because it's a very consistent shot that you can do with pretty much any wood, and it's definitely wood. Now, if you bring a big enough ball, in the past, I've been able to engage this area. It all depends on what kind of wind we get in the tournament. I think the last time we were here, we had a little bit of headwind, and so I wasn't able to engage here without using any overpower. I like to hit from this spot right here with a power 3 ball with a Guardian. And so you can get in this spot right here, and you can apply backspin and side spin to bring it towards the hole, and it's a great shot. I think the last time we played, though, we had headwind, and I wasn't able to get that done. So what I did was I brought a rocket and a lower power ball so that I moved my red line back, so my Guardian would have been hitting here instead of hitting forward. And then I was able to bring my rock because it's got lots of backspin, and I was able to do the same shot with the rock. And I shot it like one time just to see if it worked, and that was the video that I posted, just kind of showing it, because I think that's probably the better way to go at it. You don't have to use a bigger power ball, and you got plenty of backspin to get the job done, and it's got some. I think it'll work pretty good, and I actually think it might have better ball guide than the Guardian. So I'm going to come at this with a rocket. I'm going to try this out. And this is not a high percentage hole, and I'm going to bring a Quasar. And I'm going to bring a Quasar because of the side spin. All right, that was hole number 7 of the East Coast tournament. Hole number 8 of the East Coast tournament is City Park. Hole 2. What is hole 2? Oh my gosh, this is a brutal hole. Brutal. I'm going to write some numbers down here. 5. 3, that's 1. 6 is a par 5. Go 6 is Southern Pine. Hold on 1 second. 6 Southern Pines, hole 5. We can talk about this at the end. This is a par 5, and I'm telling you, being on and 2 and getting an eagle, this is going to be a tough hole to eagle, but we have to get an eagle on this hole. We have to. We have to. Okay, City Park. Southern Pines, that's a 1. All right, I'm caught up. So, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're on hole number 8. Okay, this par 4 right here is this is a birdie hole with the reason I'm saying that this is a birdie hole with possibly an eagle shot is that you have to remember that you want to give yourself this opportunity for eagle, but you have to get this birdie, and this is a tough hole where there's going to be a ton of people that aren't going to get this birdie, that are going to end up with a par. And so while it would be lovely to get an eagle and get 2 shots up on a bunch of our opponents, the goal coming into this hole is to get this birdie. Now you can help yourself by ending up down in here, but it's a tough shot because you're at the very end of your run trying to go through the narrowest part of the fairway to try and bleed out. Now, the good news is that if you are down in this front area down here and you've got a Nirvana and a Spitfire, you can still get on. If you're back over in here, you're back on this one, or you're back up in here, you're going to struggle. The last time we played this, what was ticking me off was there's a spot out here, and when you're doing the bounce to get to this spot, it's one of those spots where it's a hill face like this, and when the ball comes in, it's coming in, and instead of bouncing off and doing its thing, it actually hit this hill face almost at the same angle that it was dropping, and then it scooted and it just shot across the fairway, and it'll end up out in this area, and it'll happen to you all the time. there's a spot. You just hit it at that wrong spot right there in that shadow where it just dives down and then it just scoots across the fairway. And I'm just trying to lay up right here and come at it with a sniper. But if you get up here in the front, you got a shot at eagle if you're in either one of these spots, but it's going to be either with a wood or a long iron. But it's very difficult to get through the mouth up here. I tend to want to bring more accurate clubs to get me through. And one of the things that I'm really excited about playing on this hole is my rock. So I worked to get my rock to level 8, and now it's that 226 power. So it's in between a QB and an extra mile, like dead in the middle. And so I want to see how it responds out here, because it's a very accurate club that'll help get me through this. And now it's got a lot of the distance that you're kind of, with a QB, you're kind of having a really hard time without overpower to try and get up here. So if you want to get through this, for the most part, in the past, I've almost always had to bring a bigger club like an extra mile. So I want to see if my rock will actually, what kind of distance it'll give me, that if I can get through that mouth a little easier, I'm going to go for it. I mean, if I can find some way that I feel is fairly consistent, then I'm going to go for it. Otherwise, I'm going to lay it up out here and go at it with my sniper. The safe bet, lay up, sniper. If you get out in here, I'll tell you what, though, if you get out in here, you can get on and move on down the road. You can go on, get your birdie and move on down the road and give yourself at least a shot at eagle, a pretty decent shot in most cases. But if you end up in any kind of trouble back here in the back, you're in big trouble. But this is going to be a birdie hole with, this is a tough hole to eagle. It's a tough hole to eagle because here's the deal. This green down here looks like this. Here's the green, and I mean, it drops. And you got the sand over here, and I mean, it is steep. And where you're typically coming in at it is you're having to bounce over from this fairway over to the green. So you're coming from a low spot like this, and then you're coming up to this spot right here, which is then going up to the level of the green. So it's a very tricky shot to get it so that you don't come in too slow, so that when you come in here and you do the bounce up, that it comes in too slow and then it just dribbles down, and getting it over far enough so that you don't put too much on it where it'll roll off, because it's short back here on the back, and you don't want to be in the rough on the back. That blows. I mean, this in the front's bad, but the stuff in the back is just as bad. So to get it to stop right here at the green, it's a very technical second shot. And so work on this hole. This is a hole, like when we talk about minimum score and that we want to maintain minimum score, there's 2 holes in this tournament, and this is one of them, where your first goal at the beginning of the week, I know we're all like trying to get eagle and trying to get all this stuff. Your first goal on this is to figure out how to make it so that you can get a birdie every single time. And then once you figure that out, then whatever your second shot is, bring the right stuff to try and give yourself a better look at eagle. But you have to get a birdie on this hole. You have to. And normally we're talking about, hey, you got to get an eagle on that par 4. Here, there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to epic fail. There's several holes in this tournament that are huge epic fail holes. All right, hole number 9 in the East Coast tournament is hole number 9 of City Park. And this is definitely an albatrossable hole. My practice account, my auto account, I was using it for practice for my 77 account, and the video that I put in the playlist is the 18th hole in whatever that tournament was, and I got an albie on the 18th hole. So just in my last round of practice before I played my main account, just going through that account, trying to get it, trying to see if, the notes were working and getting an albie here. I think on that particular account that week, I came in and I was practicing with an extra mile. I think somebody asked me to demo some shots with an extra mile, and so I started doing it, and then I was just stuck on the extra mile deal. So I think I demoed it with an extra mile, but I would use a QB. This is definitely a hole. Get a thing. And this shot right here, if you've watched the video from the beginning, this shot that I showed earlier. This is from hole number 9. So I was using an extra mile, and you could see the distance that I was out here. So I can't put a ton of curl on the ball because I don't have a lot of room. And the further I move forward in this shot, the further I move forward and move it up here, I'm not getting any help. I think I was right out my red line. So when you're setting these shots up, you'll have an easier time with a quarterback or a rock, because you can set it up 3 rings off of this, and then you can put more curl on it. You can bring it out a little bit and put more curl so that you can dig deeper into the hole. But this is definitely a hole to bring. In my opinion, QB works really good on this. And I'll probably bring my QB even though I've got my rock upgrade, just because I've taken this shot so many times with my QB and I want to end up down in, sorry about that. That's so close together. I can, I wanted to end up down in this area, and then we're doing a bounce over to go on, and I'm going to bring a sniper as my second club. So I'm going to bring a QB. And whenever you're using a QB and we've got distance stuff, there is a big distance thing here. If you short shoot it back here, you're going to be short with your sniper of being able to bounce on this island. You've got to get at least in the halfway part in order to engage this island out here. And that's only if you bring a 3-power ball. And we're doing all of this stuff to get this on here. We want side spin. We want to do that. So Kingmaker to help set up the shot to get us in the right spot. Kingmaker to get us to the spot. Kingmaker to cut the wind down for the green. So anytime you use a QB, if you're doing a setup shot like that, a Kingmaker helps out everything. It helps out that shot. It helps out the next shot. So I'm definitely going to bring a Kingmaker on this. There are some people that'll shoot up in the here, and I have no idea why. Now, if you're in the upper divisions, you're probably going to shoot up into this. You may not be able to engage this fairway, and you may be able to shoot up in here. And if you've brought the right club, so if you think about distances, like from the distance to here, from the distance from here to here, you may be able to, if you brought a big topper, be able to get that, or a big dog, excuse me, you may be able to get that on where you come up into this area and you're bouncing over the sand. I've seen people do that shot before. But I think the best way to get an Albie on this hole is to get down into this hole and come at it with your sniper, bounce off the island, go right at it. And on my drive shot with the extra mile, just so you know, I used 2 top spin and maximum right hand side spin. I think that's the same thing I did with the QB, and I ended up pretty much in the same spot. I actually can't remember what I did with the extra mile. I think with the QB it's 2 top spin and then max right side spin, and that'll get you somewhere into this area right here. Now the thing is, you can put 3 on it to try and dig down further in, but if you got your trajectory wrong, that 3 may clip right here, or might clip right here, and you do not want to be in the rough down here. You need to be in the fairway, because it is every single thing you can get with a 3-power ball. If you're down here on this, your red line with a 3-power ball is going to be somewhere in the middle of that island, maybe towards the front of it. If you hit back, right there, but it's everything you can do to get a sniper to this point. So if you end up in the rough down here, there's no way you're going to end up over there. You're going to be out in this area with your Nirvana. Difference between like 120, 129, and 180, 172, I think. So you got to come at it with big stuff. Don't end up in the rough. All right, that was hole number 9. So let's see what we got here. This is an eagle hole, so we're ending up with a 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is an 11 tournament. 11 is the minimum score that we're looking for. That's shooting just a nice clean round, and we have 1, 2. We have hole number 1, hole number 3, hole number 4, and this hole right here where you have. There's some other possibilities to pick one up. So we have some, but this is going to be a very low scoring tournament. And there's several of those where I've wrote down that we need to get a 1, and a bunch of people aren't going to get a 1. Thinking of this hole right here, this par 4, there's going to be hole number 7. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong deal. City Park hole number 2. This par 4 right here, there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to epic fail on this. Epic fail. 4, 3, par 4, City Park 5. This is another one. Now this one we have a serious opportunity to pick something up on this hole. We have a shot on the first hole as well. So that's Southern Pines hole, but it's going to be a very I think it's going to be a very low scoring tournament. We'll have to see once we get out there and start playing some of the holes, like, what the deal is. But I don't see this isn't going to be one of those massive tournaments. We're looking at minus 22, as the minimum score in the opener. Looking at minus 11, minus 22 coming into the weekend round will put you pretty good in tiebreakers, just coming in. That'll put you up so that if you shoot a 22, you'll be close to the top. But it's going to be a very low scoring tournament. And like I said, we'll see how it goes, like what we are picking up or what we're learning as we go along. I'd like to pick up at least 2 per side. So that's 13, that's 26. So typically that's a good place to start, is trying to pick up 2 per side. So pick your ponies. But I will assure you that there's at least 2 holes out there that are everything you can do just to get a birdie. So on those holes, when you go out there, the goal is birdie. Don't be thinking eagle and being risky. The whole goal is to get that birdie and get on to the next hole, because a huge chunk of people are going to fail. And you're getting ahead of them just because you got the score. Give yourself a look at it, but you got to get the birdie. All right. I will put this video at the top of this playlist, and go find the playlist and check it out. Thanks for watching.